What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to LFA and Bellator MMA veteran. He is the one and only Aaron Spidey Webb. Aaron, what's going on, my man?
Man, can't complain today, man. It's a blessed day. Just waiting on the little baby coming on the way. Man, that's a blessing right there. But besides that, man, can't complain. It's a blessed day.
Absolutely, and I mean, if that's one thing, it's if you wake up on this side of the dirt than the other, then guess what? It's a good day.
Oh yeah. I don't want to wake up dirty too much, man. Having a bad dream or whatever. Tossing and turning in the little sleepless nights, man. It's kind of rough.
Oh
But
yeah.
when you get that satisfying rest, though, man, when you wake up like, oh man, I'm so refreshed.
Yeah, and you and the significant other, you guys should get as much of that right now as much as possible, because after the baby comes, the next like 2 years of the life is just going to be.
Hey man, I'm not saying I'm prepared, but man, I'm somewhat trying to get prepared right now. So.
Yeah, see, I guess as a father myself, the only thing that I mean, not to say that it would be advice, because as a parent, the only rubric that I have is like, if Paris Hilton can have everything and still end up like in a mound of substances, then we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay.
Hey, if you had that type of buddy, man, you could snip your life away. Hey, it's all up to what she's gonna do right now. But besides that, man, I know when I was getting raised up, man, it was I know my mom would said I was one of them hungry babies. I used to suck on the titty real good, like all the time, because I was fat. I was a fat, like Chinese looking baby.
It happens. At 35 years old, I don't think I've ever gotten out of my baby fat phase, which is alarming. But I also it's no longer baby fat. It's like old man fat. I don't know. It's weird.
That's that dad bod. That's the dad bod.
Yeah.
They say they love the dad bod. I'm like,
yeah. And at some point, I'll trade the kegger in for a six pack, at some point. But right now, it's I'm feeling like the Corona weight champ.
Corona, yeah, you ain't lying, cutting weight like that.
Now, bro, so in terms of your beginning in mixed martial arts, like, how did you start? I mean, was there a fight that you saw? Was there a particular, a kind of I guess you would say icon of the sport now, 25 years removed?
Man, I started out with boxing at first. Started out boxing in Lawton, Oklahoma. I think it was like 18 years old. I went to go stay with my brother. He was in the military at that time. So I'm looking like, man, I might want to try some boxing. And they was like, well, can you take a punch? I'm looking like, we're gonna find out. So went to Grady Brewer out there in Lawton. It's actually a good gym. He fought in the old school contender series back in the day for the boxing contender series, and I think who else was on there? Yeah, it was I remember that was back in the day, but that was like way back in the day.
Yeah, that was not so much the Dana White contender series, but the what is it? The Sugar Ray Leonard. Yeah, on NBC.
That was actually some good. Yeah, I kind of like that. But yeah, I trained out there with them, man. I used to run Mount Scott. Man, he actually taught me everything that I needed, to actually proceed forward. But with circumstances that happened in Lawton, I had a warrant that was out in Illinois Joliet, so that kind of expedited me all the way back to Illinois, to where I had to serve my term. So it took a while before I had to get myself back into where I was, where I'm at right now. But one of my friends, he was doing MMA on the side in the little boxing gym area where I was at. Yeah, some guy that used to box for Don King back in the day. I forgot his name. His Joshua or Josh, one of the two. Yeah, some African guy. He's cool, man. But besides that, he didn't. I don't know if he didn't like me at first because I was fighting left-handed because I'm left-handed. You know what I'm saying? I'm naturally left-handed, but I don't know if he liked me or not. When he first see me, he's like, "Oh, just go hit the bag. Go hit the bag." For I'm like, "Oh man, okay." So I think this is like by punishment or something. So besides that, I peeped in over there where my buddy was at. His name is David Bowe. Fight out of Joliet. He used to fight. Hopefully, man, one day he'll get back into that cage again. But yeah, he's the one that brought me in, and yeah, he's the one that actually brought me to MMA in my first class. Man, it was a lot of groundwork, and I kind of did good. So I was like, oh man, let me try the next day. So yeah, I went to the next day, got choked out a little bit. I was like, oh yes, I don't know if this is for me. But I went back the third day. I was like, all right, let's try this again. But yeah, it took 3 days actually me to change my whole like. Cause like, man, I'm gonna try MMA one time, man. I'm gonna see if try a whole month. So I did a whole month under 11 Dimension. His name is Quentin. I was under him, and he's a brown belt right now under Carlson Gracie. So I did a couple works with him when I was 2 fights amateur until I moved to Lawton.
Damn. So I mean, obviously, well, there's a couple things to kind of unpack, right? So, getting starting out in boxing and having that influence of your brother, right? And I think it's kind of cool because obviously the music world lost Eddie Van Halen earlier this week, right?
Yeah.
And it was a kind of a swap, right? If you kind of know the story, it was actually Alex Alex Van Halen that had the guitar and Eddie had the drums, and then at some point they got pissed off at the respective instruments, and they swapped, right? And that led to another kind of what we now know as Van Halen, right? So like the fact that your brother kind of brought you in, and I just think that's super cool.
Yeah, man. It's one of my best friends, but I call him my brother, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, we went to school back in the day, like man, like all the way to grade school and up. We just, I don't know, for some reason I was like, why you doing MMA? He was like, man, bro, one of my other buddies, Justin Gordina, man, he's an all-American wrestler, bro. He's knocking motherfuckers out, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking like, oh, okay. And that's when I just got out of jail. I'm looking like, man, I want to try this, man. Yeah. I told everybody, hey man, I'm gonna probably do MMA. They was like, man, bro, you better amp up, man. There's just a lot of work you gotta do. I'm looking like, all right, man. I'm ready to test myself, see where I stand. But yeah, man, I had my first fight in, was it 5 months?
Really?
Yeah, I knocked the dude out in I think a minute and 30 seconds in the first round. So that was like,
that's pretty cool because so I have to ask, in terms of your I guess your stand up, you started out in terms of your training in boxing, right? So that first day in terms of grappling, doing jiu-jitsu or whatever, just being a stand up fighter, and then you basically go to the ground. I mean, what was the biggest kind of misconception that you had?
on the ground game to stand up. Oh man! I used to be a knucklehead, man. Me and my buddies, we used to like grapple and wrestle and do all that types of stuff in the basement, man. Me and my man, like we used to do some crazy stuff. So yeah, I used to have I had one of my buddies in the headlock so hard, like I let him go and he got deaf. He came deaf in one ear. Hopefully it's not lying about that, but that's what he told me. But yeah. Besides that, yeah, I had like a lot of grappling experience with my cousin and all that other stuff. So I always had like a I wouldn't say playful mentality, but always hey man, I don't want to fucking like let's move around, let's play around a little bit. But I always had that type of grappling mentality, So when I got on there, it was like a little different with the positioning wise, especially when I'm on my back and anything else and trying to get out of the position or anything else I'm in else like or something dangerous, Just learning how to breathe and getting myself out of that position, that was actually the main test.
Yeah, and I mean it's literally like I don't know, it's a fish out of water type deal.
Yeah.
Now it's crazy. Jesse Velasquez, who's a IFS champion here in Southern California, he said, "Damn, 5 months and caught a body. That's legit." That's crazy.
Yeah, man. I know, man. I caught I think the worst I ever caught when I was actually getting ready for a fight, my buddy Steven, man, hit me with a high kick and cut me right here. And it was like, I think it was like 2 weeks before my fight coming up. And I was like, oh, bro, I don't even know if I'm going to pass this, but kind of it healed real quick. And then I just kind of called it an abrasion. I was like, hey, man, it's an abrasion. So I kind of went along with the fight for my second amateur fight.
That's it.
And that was
Like,
like that was the test. Like, all right, man, I gotta watch these kicks. I gotta watch these legs, man, because man, them things do damage. They do damage. That's for sure.
so was it that? Was it more like the early part of your career? Was it more like a trial by fire? Like, oh, I've got this boxing stuff, and then like, oh, that jujitsu thing looks cool and whatever, and you kind of learned, as you went along. Because I mean, did you have any kind of inclinations of what like MMA was, prior
Oh,
to
yeah,
that?
man. I used to watch The Ultimate Fighter when it first started. So I had actually watched way back in the day. So it was kind of cool watching that with Pride and all that other stuff back in Tokyo and all that. So I kind of stayed up with it with K1 and all that other good. So I stayed with like. But I always watched it when I was younger, but I never knew I would be a fighter or had the passion to fight. But man, things change. Things do change.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing that I love about this sport, right? Because you can love the basketball, right? You can love basketball, play it, whether it be locally at your local rec center, in high school, college, whatever, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, you'll be in the NBA or even train with people in the NBA. But I mean, MMA and jujitsu, like it's kind of crazy because if you land at a gym where like a lot of professional fighters train at, you will probably be training with them side by side, and helping them get ready for their camp. Um, where I mean, it's just kind of cool to kind of realize, and I think that's what makes this sport unique.
Yeah, man. I think my first UFC fighter I actually trained and put me through a work was Bubba McDaniel. Oh man, he put me through my work, my amateur career. So I like to have that type of problem. Like, hey, man, oh man, we getting at elite level right now, man. I need to get that push. I need to show him, hey, man, I got it. But he said, I mean, I did good. I stuck along. So
I think that's pretty. I mean, and Bubba, man, gee, that's a those are some hands.
yeah. He fought on the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, that was actually that was a good episode. That whole Ultimate Fighter was good. Yeah. So
Damn. So I mean, in terms of when you started training to where you had your first fight, like was that 5 months kind of deal, like that time frame?
man, no, the messed up part about it is my buddy was supposed to be fighting on that card, and he was like, man, I think Aaron want to fight on that card too. And he looked at me, and both my coaches looked at me like, you ready? I'm looking like I'm not gonna say no. Yeah, I'm ready. So I'm not that type of person to be like, oh no, I'm not ready. I got to worry about the little knickknacks. No, man, it's amateur, man. I'm just gonna go in there and have fun.
Wow, that's crazy. Now, in terms of that taking that first fight, how did you how did you feel, like nerves or what have you?
Man, I was nervous, but I was pumped at the same time. Like I was like to the nervous where I got to the cage, but soon when I hit that cage, it was just like I took like 4 hops in my corner. I was like, "Whoo, here we go!" And I got pumped from there. So but yeah, man, I thought I had an adrenaline drop, but man, good thing I didn't for my first fight. And a lot of people always told me, man, your first fight, man, you got to worry about an adrenaline drop, man. But I was very cool in the back, trying to keep my composure, listen to music, some stuff to keep me actually going, not going crazy with my heartbeat going like, oh man, I got a fight coming up, man. Get ready, dog. But man, no, just getting mentally strong, getting everything ready, try to go in there and just put on a good performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And that mental, and not that ends up encompassing your physical strength as well. I mean, is a topic that Jesse, it kind of points out that martial arts changes lives physically and mentally. It's awesome, and it's legit that high level work, and it shows where you're at.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. It changed when I first started, man. It was a lot of different stuff. So with the different
That's
stuff, whatever, like learning how to block the kicks, especially when the punch is coming towards you with the kicks right after it. It was like, all right, man, I need to slow this down. All right, man, I need to move my head a little bit and circle out. Then, but yeah, it was just a lot more learning like the kicks and the punches and actually learning to change your levels, because sometimes when you change your levels, man, like you said, it changed the whole game because it opens up more flaws and takedowns and leg kicks, head kicks, and all that other type of stuff. Feints is like one of my favorite things to do. I love feinting at people because it sets up a lot of combinations and takedowns and yeah, etc.
and that's it. Anybody that does anything, with any sort of, I guess, mastery, and just the attention to detail. It's the smallest things, right? Like, Jordan, right? If you watch the Last Dance documentary,
Oh, I'm
it's
still
like,
watching it.
yeah, exactly. So like, those jump shots, right? And you essentially, drain them and train that jump shot, 100,000 times, till you get it like masterful, the way that you play your defense. And like you said, your feints, and the way that sets it up. That's almost a very veteran type kind of mentality,
Yeah,
like a tenured veteran, because like, again, these small things, or the way that you have your feet, or
man, it counts.
just those little incremental, changes or things that you train. I mean, it's literally the line between like life or death
Yeah,
in a lot of instances.
yes, that's so true though, man. You ain't lying. But I feel like, man, I worry about a person that practice on one move 1,000 times, because you got to think, man, what Ronda Rousey was special for, that arm bar, because you practice that stuff. Her mom was always waking her up early in the morning with an arm bar. She had to get out of it. It's just consistency and stuff like that. You got to fear. It's like fear of somebody with a jab but that jab is so deadly, but yeah, it's just
We
practice
just
makes,
saw,
huh?
yeah, we actually just saw it like in I can't remember what, it might have been one of the last UFC fights or something, where somebody just like, I mean, hit the jab and sent the dude flying and knocked him out, and it's just like, but it, sometimes not, I mean, sometimes it's like the flashiest moves that can get you hurt, and Jesse says it's a game of inches, but like you I think there's like this one kind of like fail, fight video or whatever. Old dude is like doing capoeira, not to say
Yeah.
anything about that, whatever, but like he's doing handstands and all that, whatever. And all it takes is old dude to go, and he goes like, he goes flying. He goes flying.
That's crazy. But that's so true, though, man. It's all about inches and also all about timing and where your head is at, because you never don't want your head in the center. Always move out to the angle. So it's all about the timing and where you at about the inches, man, because you could be an inch away and still miss and get tagged, and from either a counter or wherever you at. But it's all about a game of inches and position. And if you're strong, you can knock them out if the jaw is like loose.
No, 100%, 100%. And in regards to your first fight, and Jesse can attest to this, but first fight jitters are always super brutal. It's hard to stay focused. You almost lose all technique and just go wild. And those happen. Everybody
Yeah.
has a plan until you get punched in the face, right?
Yes, like Tyson said, you ain't lying. That's the truth. That is the truth, man. I tell you this, man. When I first got in there, I was just like, all right, throw my first punch out, throw kick out, and I just threw a couple flurries, stunned him a little bit. But yeah, he kept his composure. But yeah, I just ended up somewhat on the ground and did some ground and pound and finished it. So
That's not a bad deal. I mean, to start off your career and you have a I'm not just a finish, but a knockout, right? I mean, that must have sent the crowd home happy, right?
Woo. And we had a party night.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it gets any better than that, right? Because I mean, a win, because it could go either way, right?
Yeah.
A win, a decision, you could even lose, right? I mean, it's very high stakes, and high rewards, right? But I mean, the fact that you again won by TKO, that's even as a pros at times. I mean, go ask Tyron Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy Townsend, in UFC 209, right? It's hard to get a finish sometimes,
Yes.
even as a pro.
That is so true, though. That is so true. But I already know, man. When you get knocked out, yeah, you got to come bounce back from that. That's for sure. Besides, I don't know, but yeah, that like you said, man. Just gotta stay steady and stay strong, man. But especially with these dang fights, that tough fights. I love tough fights. All my fights I had was like legitly tough. I'm not the type of person to take an easy fight. I like to test myself. But with circumstances, things happen. So I had to chill back, especially when I actually chill back for this whole year, things happen. So
Yeah. And Jesse says nothing more lit than celebrating after a big win. No, 100%. It's all the crazy emotions that you go through fight camp, weight cutting, and all that stuff. You got to be disciplined. You're like a horse with the blinders. You're just running, and you got to block everything else out, right? And then you get that win. Everybody's happy, and you get to let loose a little bit.
yeah, man. I know when I first actually started, I was smoking cigarettes and everything at that time. Man, I've been clean for a long time. But man, I was smoking cigarettes when I first in my first amateur fight until I got my ass like somewhat handed to me in the gym class and all that other stuff. So I kind of changed up my game to not smoke. So I was like, yeah, I can't get my butt kicked every day, but that was just a string along with me when I was smoking back in the day when I was young, man. So I kind of had a little incident, but you know how kids are, man. Very curious. Kids are very curious, no matter what, man. They'll be looking like, oh man, what's this here, and go along and probably try it. Curious, man. I was just one of them curious kids.
Well, it's funny, in terms of like the level of athletics and the evolution of like fighter care, right? Because I mean, you hear of like I'm a big pro wrestling fan, right? So Ken Patera, which he was the strongest man, right, back in the 70s, was on like I think like the Pan Ams, won a gold at the Pan Am Games for weightlifting, did a whole bunch of like the Goodwill Games, but they still had it, right? But that dude and all of those weightlifters of the era, it was actually encouraged that you smoke because what it did was like, it in their minds it would essentially strengthen your lung capacity, right?
No, I'm
Almost
smoking
like
cigarette. You said
yeah,
smoking
that's
cigarette. Ooh, that was
right.
rough. Man, I
They were,
don't know how people do it now. I think I've seen my third amateur fight. Somebody got done weighing in. After got done weighing in, they went outside and light up a cigarette. I'm looking like, bro, you gonna die. You gonna die in that cage. You get somebody put all that pressure on you, man. You just gonna tap, man. Smoking cigarettes is not a fun deal. Say no,
no.
kid.
And that's the thing. It's like things that we know now, and especially like, you know, uh, you know, even in an MMA, right? Like, if you look at like, Chuck Liddell's, kind of, training at the pit and, like, the early days of mixed martial arts, like, yeah, we just throw and stand and bang, whatever. And it's just like things that right now, it's one of those, it doesn't age well, right? Like, you're like, why would you take hits, in training and try to be the top dog when you're going to take hits and this might impair you for your fight?
That's so true. That's so true, man. Because I know I had some hard sparring sessions, especially hard ones, but them to be the best ones though, man. When you actually push yourself and be like, all right, man, I just got done a good round. All right, next round, let's do it again. But it's just that anticipation. I'm just a hype person, especially when I go like train or anything else, man. I spar Like I'm that type of person, man. I gotta have the energy. I gotta be in your face, you know. So always keep a competitive edge.
No, I hear you. I hear you. Now, in terms of like, because you mentioned in terms of like, learning to kind of control your environment, earlier on, I gotta ask, because I mean, right here where I am in California, pretty much like almost everything is shut down, right? And even if you're a gym, there's no jits. I mean, hardly any jits, because obviously you can't train jiu-jitsu or any type of submission wrestling, catch, sambo, judo, whatever. You can't train it with a dummy. You can't,
No.
it's something that you have to be at close quarters. You can't hit a bag, right? So, I mean, what is the scene like where you are?
Oh man, I'm in Oklahoma City right now, man. It's not that bad. We still gotta wear masks going to everywhere we go. So it has their stipulations, 50 people max. I think for events, I think it's 50 to 100. I'm not for sure, but we got some upcoming fights coming right now that's gonna be here. But yeah, like we got a lot of events coming here. So, but besides that, it's not as strict. Our numbers actually are not too bad to where we need to be quarantined. So that's a big plus. But besides that, man, I'm very strict on who I train with. I'm not like, oh yeah, man, let's train, man. Oh, you got a cough? It's all right. Let's go. It's all right, man. I can't be doing that, man. But besides that, man, I try to find out who the people I trust to be like, all right, man, I think I trust you enough not to be, dumb enough to come to the gym and get everybody the corona. You know what I'm saying? So I try to go roll with whoever, especially if I trust, especially family at a family gym or anything else, So
It's just, I think it's kind of wild how things have changed, because before a cough, in jiu-jitsu is like, oh, somebody just did a knee on belly or something like that, right? Like, yeah, no big deal, like, or somebody cutting weight, for like a competition or whatever, obviously your immune system is absolutely shot, like as you're going into any type of competition, whether that be MMA, Muay Thai, whatever, I mean, your body essentially is almost close to death in a lot
yeah,
of instances, right?
yeah.
So that cough would have been like, oh, okay, but like now it's just like, the COVID. You're like, what?
I remember I got allergies, so I kind of cough and I sneeze. So I was just looking like, man, sometimes I'll be in like the grocery store or anything else with my mask or anything. I'm like, yeah, or I cough and they look at me like and start walking away real fast. I'm like, so paranoid, so paranoid. These people are just so paranoid sometimes. I understand precautions, but being paranoid, man, you can't have that fear in your heart, man.
Uh, well, it's just like everything, right? We're like, I as kind of this like personality, I'm like, everybody should be in our community, because like, there's so much strife, right? Like everybody wants to argue, get into social media arguments.
Yep.
You voted for this guy, do blah blah blah, whatever, right? And I'm all like all of those things apply in our community. We roll with both sides of the aisle, every religion under the sun, every sexual orientation under the sun, right? And like, man, the world needs a little bit more MMA, needs more jiu-jitsu in their life, right? And then you go like, oh, but maybe not you. You're like, you're that guy like, oh, just bleed, or when there's a grappling exchange, oh, just stand up.
That easy, right? No, man, these people, I don't know, but man, politics, all that other stuff, man. I feel like, man, I don't know, man, but this whole system is like messed up. But besides that, we just gotta handle it, taking control of our own self. That's all we gotta worry about. Not worry about nobody else. We gotta worry about ourselves. Then after that, when you feel comfortable enough to help somebody else, then go help somebody else. But besides that, man, you don't mind stay in your own lane. That always, like my mom always like, stay in your own lane. What's that mean? Stay in your own lane. Oh, that means mind my own business. Okay, all right. That's so. So you always say mind my own business. Don't worry about what they doing. I was like, now if they coming towards you with a knife or a gun, then you better run or you better fight. One of the two.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing about it. And obviously, this is a unprecedented time in not just like I would say human history. It's not just U.S. history. It's not just like France. Like it's something that like pretty much everywhere in the world, like nobody really has the answers, and everybody's doing something different. But the thing about it is like it doesn't matter who is your elected official. It doesn't matter like your success isn't predicated on any of that, right? What state you live in, what state you move to, what like it's not predicated. Like you got you. And if you've got a goal in mind, right? Your goal when you were writing it down, when you were putting it on your vision board, you weren't talking about like, oh, I will only be champion if this person is president. I will only be champion
Right.
if I have X amount of money, or I train at this gym, or I have a mask versus I don't have a mask, or I'm fighting or deleting people from social media because of whatever, or I'm taking high. Like your dreams existed even without some social media. When you're a little kid scribbling it down with your
Yes.
little fingers, your dreams existed way before social media.
Exactly, man. It's just a lot of, like you said, social media always amping stuff up. Always want to add the extra oomph. But you can't believe everything that's on the internet or the media or the TV. So you got to make sure what you watch and what you hear.
And
Because
I love how you said belief, right? The only person that you really believe and count on is yourself, right? And that's one thing that I encourage everyone to do. Is like in this time, yes, all the chips are down. You might have lost your job. I mean, I've known people on every side of the spectrum, people that are healthy and people not so healthy that have caught COVID and been fine, right?
yeah,
And people that are healthy, not so healthy, that caught them and unfortunately passed away, or in the middle of the road where like they're 3 months free, but still their allergies are acting up, their immune systems are down even 3 months after they got a negative test, right? So it's just like, but even still, you know like Jeff Bezos, that dude is winning, right? Everybody's at home doing their Amazon packages and everything like that. He found a way to succeed. I mean, COVID proof, recession proof, stock market crash, whatever. Amazon is going to be here, right? Same
yeah,
thing with
man.
Apple, same thing with it, and it's funny, I went out for a drive and where I am, I mean, I went to Eddie Van Halen, Eddie and Alex's childhood home, right? And there's a bunch of murals, right? But I went actually around the back, right? And I actually was there, right? Just to feel the energy of the garage,
Yes.
where they train. I mean, where they practice, just to feel that energy. And it doesn't matter if it's Amazon, Apple, Disney, and Van Halen. They were all started at the garage and all started with not a lot of money. And look now.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. It takes baby steps, man, and trust the process. Trust your process. I think that's the key. Got to trust your own self and what you can accomplish. Because if you, then after that, people start seeing you, then like they'll start believing. But besides that, if you got to believe in yourself for anything, that's what I
Yep.
believe. That's the first step. If not, I don't know why you doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and again, that's no besmirchment on people that are having a rough time. Like my wife's anxiety is through the roof right now. They're they're it's a crazy time. And like unfortunately, suicides are up. Right. Mental health awareness is at an apex because it's that's a statistic, right?
Especially men's mental health. For us as men, we have like somewhat of a mental health. Like, it's just not really bad, but it's very common for us to have it. Certain men. But like besides that, man, a lot of people going through a lot of stuff, a lot of stress. I think it's just more stress that's causing more illnesses. You know what I'm saying? Because you lose your job, man, you got to worry about rent, worry about paying all the bills, and after that, man, you develop a cough, your immune system is all low. You know what I'm saying? Steps like that. So it's like stuff open up like that. But I don't know. That's what I'm thinking right now. But that's what I'm seeing. But yeah.
Yeah.
Besides that, man, stress, man, will get you. It will get you. It will get you gray hair. Well, okay, I got white eyelashes, but yeah, I can get you gray hairs. get you all that other good stuff that you don't want. But I want that gray hair from my kid. I don't want to get no gray hair from like stress from bills and all this other stuff. I want to get that stuff from my kid. That's about it. Anything else, man, I ain't got to worry about it.
Yeah, my mom taught me, in terms of like, it's okay to have stress. It's okay to have worry, right? But like, don't let the same thing that you're worried about today and you're stressed out about today be the same thing that you're stressed out about tomorrow,
That's
right?
real. That's
Like
real.
at some point you got to figure it out, and that might mean, like, hey, I'm going to start an at-home business, right? There's 100 million people on Telegram who are like, oh, trust the process and some susu and whatever. But like, again, we're all trying to figure it out. Like me myself, like I wouldn't have otherwise, but like been able to spend more time with the family, kind of read up on the stock market, doing
Right.
some of that. But I mean, again, it's like it's times like this you kind of have to figure things out. You can't rely on anybody. And it's funny. Steven Tatum says, "Yep." Austin 3:16 says, "DTA, don't trust anyone."
Hey, real. That's real. Though. That is 100%. But that's
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, and especially anxiety in high positions. Like political office and what have you. I, I don't know why anybody would want to be like a politician, because it's like it gets weird. It
It's
gets weird.
too stressful. I know one thing I can benefit about whatever this coronavirus or quarantine. I got a shorty on the way, got a baby on the way, and I actually opened up my own shoe business, like customizing shoes, because I do art too. I draw and do portraits and all that other good stuff.
See, and that's again a way, regardless of what's happening in the world, right? A cool thing happened to you and your spouse is you're expecting a baby, right? And all this time, you are focusing on your art, not just your mixed martial arts, but your art, your personal artwork, And again, you know, and people think like, oh, well, are you making money from it or this and that? That's so like I don't know. It like that cheapens it at least to me, because like at some point, like if you do what you love, right? You know, it's almost like what they said in Wayne's World, right? If you build it, they will come, right? If you
Yeah.
do it, something will happen from it. You
Oh
know?
yeah, you get that clientele with time, But besides that, you just got to stay at it and actually believe in what you can do, man. Because I did over 50 some shoes, and I just actually I had slowed down because I've been starting training and everything else. Because I've been like getting that itch back again. So been actually trying to stay at the fight camp and stay in the fight shape right now. So that's why I've been concentrating on it like the past 2 months now. So yeah, but man, them shoes ain't no joke, man. I got some good art on there.
So I gotta ask, like, because there's a whole kind of generation of sneakerheads. Like I've always been like a Chucks guy, right? But I mean, there is one like the Jordan Retro 3, the cement reds. Oh
Oh,
my
those,
god! Oh,
I
those are
love
like.
those.
Do you
Man.
have a pair?
No, man, I had a pair, but I had to restaurate them because when I bought them, so when I restorated them, I sold them back for like was it 150? So but they was still somewhat used. But yeah, I did some restoration shoes and all the other stuff. So I had a lot of people where I buy from Facebook or from was it offer up? What's the
Yeah.
other ones? All the other ones, man. That's where I was actually doing my clientele, selling all my stuff at, and getting out there. Yeah, man, it's a process, man. It's just a process. You just got to trust your process in every step, man. I think that's the one step of anything. Take that one day at a time. Don't worry about the next day. Worry about the day that you're doing right now. I was like, you never know what you can accomplish in that one day. So always concentrate on that first day.
That's
Hey,
it. And oh,
okay, get the ball.
not even trip. My fur baby over here is causing a ruckus too. Yeah. Yours is a lot bigger than mine. Wait, that sounded wrong. I mean, see, I'm a firm believer that there's Pugsley fucking Woods. That's it.
It remind me of the Man in Black dog.
Yeah, it does, right? Yes. But that's the thing
Dog.
about it. It's just like you, you gotta trust what you're doing, right? And
Yeah.
a lot of times you don't know what you're doing, right? You don't know. You're trying to figure it out, right? But everybody that's successful, if you put in enough work, whether that be in mixed martial arts avenues, or whether it be jujitsu, whether it be your artwork, you just doing something to kind of make your life condition, right? Again, most people think about just like
Who I like, who I
very
like the
aspect.
most, who I like the
Yeah,
most that was always consistent in their thing. It was Jordan and Kobe, and especially Kobe. They had that mentality where they get up at that certain time to where they beat everybody. They getting up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, going to the gym, practicing on their shots, practicing on their footwork, practicing on their little details that makes them perfection. Because that's why they're so great at what they do. That's why they sit back and take them shots, because they've been practicing them. They've been consistently getting up early in the morning, beating everybody that been sleeping. Because sometimes getting up at 3 o'clock, man, is a sacrifice. But you got to think about, man, the time that you have, and how Oprah said it's how to manage your time. Who else? Eric Thomas, how to manage your time. A lot of successful people. You have to learn how to manage your time. That's about it, man. You only got 24 hours. You got to manage the time. Either or they do hour jiu-jitsu, hour boxing, or you get an hour a little rest, you go do some hour cardio, stuff like that. It really helps out in the ongoing thing, especially getting up early. That's when I've been getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, man, and going for my runs, So it's just staying consistent on actually getting up early and practicing on that art, and stay sharpening the iron.
yeah, and that's the thing. When you invest that much time into anything, whatever your endeavors are, whether that be going to school, whether that be in the gym, whatever it is, right? If you put in enough work, you're gonna see the benefits, of all of your sacrifices. And if not, maybe there's something that you need to change, that you need to tweak, right?
Yeah.
As we're all evolving, as we're all learning. But again, if you put so much time into something, there's got to be a way, like you're going to succeed, and not by, I guess, society's kind of explanations or expectations of
Yeah.
you, but your own expectations of yourself and what you want to get out of the whatever experience that lay at hand.
My main thing about life is failure. I'm the type of person, I don't want to be sitting back like, hey man, I should have did this, I should have did that. And I'm that type of person. My failure is the most thing. I don't want to fail. I want to succeed. That's why I keep pushing me. That's why I have that no quit mentality right now. I always have that. I had that since I was a kid. So pushing through like tough times and all the other stuff. I was always that strong kid pushing everybody through. So besides that, man, man, you gotta stay mentally strong. Gotta get that mental game strong, because if not, man, you're gonna fall. That's for sure.
No, I mean that's it. And it's funny because like people use the euphemism of like hustling. I never liked that deal, because when I was growing up and in Inglewood, right, hustlers were like the gangbangers, the drug
Yeah,
dealers, or whatever. So like, it's just hard work and dedication. Like nothing is, I guess, nothing is a replacement for hard work and dedication. If you lead yourself to it, and again, people call it like, oh, you're hustling or whatever. And it's like, no, 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 no. Like you're basically overcoming obstacles, right? Because like there's so many reasons why you can't succeed, right?
yeah.
Or explanations, and crutches that you could lean in, but choosing not to.
It's your environment sometimes too. Sometimes your environment and the people that you'll be around with actually can affect how you're living and how you take about life and all that. But when I stayed in Illinois, man, that's my hometown, so Joliet's. But it's a rough place. I used to sell drugs until I was like 22. So that was just my main hustle, because nobody didn't want to hire no guy that in and out of jail. So what else was I supposed to do? And I think it was like 22, I started doing boxing, going back to boxing again, and but yeah, then I started doing MMA like around like 23, and from there, just being like, man, I ain't say forget everybody, but I got to go. I got to go, guys. I love you, but man, I gotta do, so I gotta go somewhere else, because I believe in what's it a generational curse, how
Yeah.
you can just continue going through the same system every time, in and out of jail, in and out of jail, in and out of jail. No, I'm not trying to do that, man. I had to cut that off, and actually, because man, when I go back there, man, everybody know me. I'm looking like, man, it's hard that I know me because I got white eyelashes. I look like I can't even go rob a bank if I wanted to. So I'm like, give me your money. Oh, we know who you are, sir. Can you just put your mask down? Yes. Okay, take me to jail. All right. How long I'm getting? but stuff like that, man. It's rough, man. But it's just your surroundings sometimes can actually dictate a lot of your stuff. So, but never let the surroundings get you, because that's where I started at, man. I used to run everywhere, man. The only time I used to get jumped, or because I only got jumped, people didn't want to fight me one-on-one. I always got jumped when I was younger. I got jumped by like 3 people, 4 people all the time. I went to jail, got jumped. People don't want to fight me alone. Even though I was like a little, I was like, why am I getting jumped by like 5 guys? I was like, but it was my reputation, my last name. Everybody know as Webb's as fighters, you know. So as our family, we're our fighters. We're just people that we're relentless. We love what we do, but we're good-hearted. But we're fighters, especially the men. My
Yeah.
sister, she's crazy. My sister, she could probably beat up a couple women. You know, yeah. But my wife too. My wife can put some hands on some women too. So yeah, I've been teaching her for a while.
Yeah, then again, you guys are fighters, But what I love about your story is, again, you talk about overcoming generational curses and all that, right? And I know guys and gals actually, that are in the UFC, that are in Bellator, that had experiences much like yours, in the NFL, like people that are, I mean, literally making hundreds of $1 million of I mean, look at like Dr. Dre or Jay-Z and what have you. These are people that went from like the street corner to like the corner
Top.
office, the building,
Yeah,
and it's just like, it's not where you start, it's where you end up,
That's real. That's real. That's real. That's why I'm like right now, man. I accomplished so much. I accomplished basically, man. I made a list before I got out of jail. I accomplished everything that was on that list. I made a 10-page list when I was locked up, and every step that I did, I actually completed it. My wife kind of lost it, but I love her anyways. But yeah, no, I'm being a butthead. But yeah, we kind of lost that thing. But yeah, it was that was a stepping stone for me actually to complete all them goals, and actually like knowing what I had capable in me. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, all right, man, I can sell drugs, I can make this, but man, you can sell drugs, but man, you can't make a living off doing that. I was like, some people, it depends, man, what type of hustler you is, but I feel like you ain't. It's a dead end, either a jail or you getting killed. You know what I'm saying? One of the two. Or you make
Yeah.
some good money and retire, whoever. But there's a lot of good hustlers. I'm not like knocking nobody, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I did, So it's just all what you want to do with yourself, man. Some people like, man, I don't know if that's good for my life. I don't know if I want to do that. Well, have you tried it before? I'm like, you gotta try that, man. Try different experiences. Dude, I want to go skydiving. I want to get scared. I want my heart to jump out my chest. That's what I want, But am I gonna do it yet? Probably soon. But I want my heart to jump out my chest when I jump out that plane. That's what type of situation I want to be in. That's a thrill.
No, 100%. Again, being able to choose what kind of sets your heart on fire, right?
Yes, yes. Well, I'll tell you this, man. Fighting sets my heart on fire. I love it, man. It built character in me. It changed, man. Because I used to say the N word. I used to say all types of bad. Like, man, I'm like, man, I can't. I was like, I can talk like this, but man, people that like might not understand my slang, my word, or anything else. But I'm trying to understand. Like, man, I can be smooth about it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gotta say all the N word and all this other stuff. So that's why I say bro a lot or bruh, you know what I'm saying, dog or whatever, you know, say stuff like that. But besides that, true man, I'm a cool laid back OG, put it that way.
Yeah. And I mean, you earned every bit of it. Again, having gone through the rough stuff in your life, and kind of seeing the other side of what life can give you versus what you feel like you got handed to you. So I gotta ask, in your MMA career, like you were talking about your goals and accomplishing it, and a 10-page, kind of a goalpost. What has been some of the like your personal highlights in terms of your combat sports career?
My highlights, man. When I fought for Bellator my first time, I was actually stoked. I was actually happy because my wife was like, "Oh, you're gonna be fighting for Bellator real soon too." And yeah, I think it was a month down the line. I think it was month, 2 months down the line. I got a call that they wanted me on the card. I'm like, "Oh snap, okay." But knocking that dude out in the first round, I think it was 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock left. But yeah, I finished him with a knockout, but I finished him. So that was actually the best like feeling I ever had because I'm looking like, man, I just knocked somebody out on Bellator, man. I was like, now I need to step on my game. But my worst situation I ever been in was for LFA. I'm still kind of mad about this, but his name is Austin Lingo. He clipped me real good. That was actually a clean shot. He's in the UFC right now. Shout outs to him. The only thing I didn't like was that after shot that he did and broke my nose. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that pissed me off. But besides that, man, he hit me clean, a nice clean hook. I was happy. Caught me off guard. Got me really good. But man, shit happens. But that was my worst moment ever be on TV getting my first knockout. And he was the first person to ever knock me out.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna get knocked out,
at least it's
I don't know. I don't know what's worse, right? Like, do you get knocked out in front of at a local show in front of 100, or 1,000 people, or you get knocked out on a big show? I don't know which one is worse.
Man, I'm telling you, man, that thing hunts me sometimes. That's why I be, man, itching and like to train extra hard, man. Like, cause yeah, all I gotta say, he's in the back of my mind. But yeah, besides that, I hope he's listening. But yeah, he's in the back of my mind. So he's that one person right now I'm probably going to be coming after real soon. So whenever I make it to the UFC, that's the plan. But man, he's on my hit list right now. So
yeah, and that's the thing. It's you're a competitor, right? This is nothing against him personally or the success that he's had or anything like that. But as a competitor, you want to you're a different fighter than you were when you guys first faced off, as are he, right? And as a competitor, you want to see what you can do.
Not even that, man. He was at the top of his game. The top of his game. It's like eight knockouts in a row, 9 knockouts in a row. I knew what I was head of. But taking that fight, I'm looking like, all right, man, I'm taking it. But the only thing that pissed me off was that cheap shot at the end. That's the only thing that's holding me a grudge right now. That's the only thing that's holding me right now to actually push because I know what I got. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm capable of. But besides that's the only thing right there. But my other LFA, man, it was by Elijah, man. Shout out to him, man. The Jones brothers. But yeah, he's cool. I like him, man. Cool, down to earth guy. The other guy, he cool, but still on my grudge list.
There ain't nothing wrong with that one, man. Sometimes that whatever lights the fire under your ass, man. I mean, I think you got to use it.
Man, you ain't lying. That's like a fucking flame under my butt right now.
No, it happens. It happens. Now, in terms of, I mean, obviously, you've grown exponentially, especially from your younger days in Joliet, to where you are now, right? And a lot of it is attributed to your career and your lifestyle, attributed to mixed martial arts. So, what is the biggest thing that you've learned about yourself, through your ventures and your your quest for greatness in this sport?
Man, my will. I have a will. I have a willpower right now, and I have that no quit mentality. Tired or not, I'll still be that type of push forward. If you watch all half of my fights, I'm pushing forward. I'm pushing forward. I'm not the type of person to back. Even though when I'm tired, I still push forward. That was the main thing, just my will to go. You know what I'm saying? My will to just to go in there and push forward. But sometimes pushing forward is not too like in a good situation. But at the same time, man, I think that's what makes me actually a really aggressive, good fighter. I push forward. I try to, test my will, man, test my cardio, test myself. You know what I'm saying? Test everything that I can do. I can do. Especially if I'm at a boxing gym and I'm practicing a 1-2-3, I guarantee that 1-2-3 gonna be some powerful 1-2-3s for that 3-minute round. That's that one combination or whatever I'm running that day. If I'm hitting the bag hard or if I'm pushing myself to, it's just that will, just that push. I want to better for myself. I want better for myself. I'm that type of person be like, man, I can do better. I can do better. I can do way better. I'm that type of person, but with that mentality, I think that's what's going to actually help me succeed to the next level. Besides that, it's the belief in myself, man. I just got to push myself and test myself each day. Each day is a different test. If I test myself mentally that day, all right, man, I'm gonna go through 8-10 mile run. Then after that, I'm gonna hit some mitts or stuff like that mentally, like push you drainingly, like stuff like that actually helps you to succeed to the next level. Because hey, man, it's just as my mental game and my willpower to help me actually push me to where I need to go right now.
I love it. I love it. And you talk about levels, right? And the level that you want to obviously, get to be able to kind of climb the levels of the mountain of expectations that you hold for yourself, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not to digress the levels and eons that you've grown since you started. So I mean, a lot of it is attributed to your community, a lot of people that you call your family. So I want you to get some shout outs and acknowledgments out of the way. People that have helped you in your journey.
Man, I want to give a shout out to Quentin. He fights. He actually got a gym out there in California, Long Beach. It's called 11 Dimension. He's the one that helped me with my MMA career. First off, thanks to him. Without him, my stand up wouldn't be where it's at for my beginning and getting to my amateur fights and knocking people out and basically showing them. Shout outs to Cobra BJ, Solid MMA, Cobra BJJ, based out in Oklahoma City. Man, solid all day, man. Everything about it, down to the striking, down to the ground game. They get their wrestling credentials is all the way up there. Collegiate fighters, I give a big shout outs to them because I've been with them 6 years. I'm a purple belt under them. So it's just, I show my loyalty. I'm always a loyal person, so I'm never going to leave that gym until I turn a black belt and open up my own gym. I want to give a shout out to Thunder Muay Thai that helped me out, get me out my funk, give me that drive back. Man, Thunder Muay Thai is based off in Oklahoma. It's like 5 minutes away from my house. Good people, man. A lot of good people there pushing me. I want to give a shout out to my wife and my son AJ, soon to be here. Man, she's a strong woman. She's the one actually dealing with my crap, but now I got to deal with her crap. Now it's like, but being pregnancy and all that other stuff, man, that's a hormonal thing. But man, dealing with her is the best thing in the world. But man, shout out to everybody, all my friends in Illinois, Joliet, and Oklahoma City. Shout out to all my training partners. Love you guys, man. We're just gonna keep on pushing and pushing for more. That's the process of life, man. Push for more. You can't just stay in one spot. So just based on, man, just stay with it. And I just thank you guys for always supporting me, man. It's gonna be more to come because I'm coming for more than what I can expect for myself. I know I can get that. I can get down and dirty. But yeah, man. Thank you.
I love it. I love it because it takes a village to raise a not a child, but definitely a person in life, And for those who want to be a part of the community that is Aaron Spidey Webb, where can they find you, good sir, on social media?
And you can find me at Aaron Spidey Webb for my fan page, or you can find me at Aaron Webb at my page on Facebook. Instagram is Spidey Webb 86. You can see my picture up on there for sure. When you see me, man, give me a follow, give me a like, whatever you want, man. Just follow me, ask you questions, whatever you want. Just basically, man. Hey, I'm a humble guy. You can ask me any question. I'm not too uppity or whatever you want to call it. I'm not too crazy. But yeah, sip my tea. I gotta make sure I have man. But besides that, man, it's just it's gonna be a good 2021 coming up, man. So it's just waiting on my shorty to come through, and just that's about it, man. Just 2020, watch out, man. Spidey's coming, man. That's gonna be my year. That's gonna be my year. I gotta show myself and tell my story. That's what I'm gonna do.
Absolutely, adding a new chapter every day. In the words of Sting, not the wrestling Steve, not Steve Gordon, but the Gordon Sumner, right, of the Police.
Yes.
He says it's starting of a brand new day, and a new day starts with Aaron Spidey Webb. So go ahead and shoot him a follow, and if you haven't already done so, well, actually, thank you, Aaron, for joining us here today at A Ford in the Woods, and can't wait to follow the next avenue of your career. And if you guys haven't already done so, well, this is the point I usually ask people to like, share, and subscribe, but I actually got some help for it. So here's to you.